विश्व में हमने युवाओं की आईटी एनर्जी के माध्यम से अपना एक रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख मिला करके बात कर सकते हैं और ये मेरा साफ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूं, आईटी प्लस आईटी इज इक्वल टू आईटी। इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी प्लस इंडियन टैलेंट इज इक्वल टू इंडिया टुमारो।
mit programmation.
भगवती तव तीरे नीरमात्रशनोऽहम् भगवती तव तीरे नीरमात्रशनोऽहम् विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे तरलतरतरङ्गे देवी गंगे प्रसीद 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 नमामि गंगे नमामि गंगे नमामि गंगे स्वर्ग की परछाइयाँ दिखती तेरे आंचल तले। माँ तेरी हर बूंद में बहती हुई ममता मिले। तू हथेली तन पे फेरे मन को भी निर्मल करे। जिस तरह को तू छुए जीवन से उसको सींच दे। लेके आया है कोई बस पाप तुझको सौंपने। फिर भी तू बहती चले सबको लगा करके गले। स्वाद अमृत का तुझे ही चूम कर जाना। प्रसीदा 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 प्रसीदा। नमामि गंगे 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 नमामि गंगे। पानी जो तेरा खारा तेरे आंसू की धारा कैसे मैं देखूं संतान हो। माना है तुझे माँ ये धर्म है मेरा। मैं तुझे तेरा वो सम्मान दूं। नमामि
Good morning, everybody. I welcome all of you in the second National Water and Sanitation Innovation Summit, presented to you by Elets Technomedia, with the host partners, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Regeneration, Government of India, and supporting partners Namami Gange and Japan International Cooperative Agency. Cooperation Agency, JICA, and country partner, Embassy of Israel, and knowledge partner, eGov Magazine. What can be a better start than this video, wonderful video of Namami Gange we saw? And we can realize that in this country, what special position of water resource has in our hearts, and how this country is looking up to save its water resources and for the betterment of water availability in the country. And on these themes, we will be having this day-long conference on water and sanitation innovation that are happening in the country. It will be a day-long conference where we will be having sessions on various important topics related to water, whether it is the smart water or it is about the water management, urban waters, technology in water resources, and water for all. So this inaugural session, which we have, the audience has started joining, and the audience is watching this second National Water and Sanitation Innovation Summit on the Avatar, which is a 3D virtual platform by Elets Technomedia. And today, a huge number of people will be watching this event live on this platform, and they have started joining. And it is, again, I would say that it is our pleasure to have distinguished speakers in inaugural session of this event. And I would like to introduce the eminent speakers of this inaugural session here. To start with, I will first introduce the keynote addressee of this inaugural session, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General of National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Warm welcome to Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra. And I also welcome our international guest, His Excellency Dr. Ron Malka, Ambassador of Israel to India. Welcome, sir. His Excellency Freddie Swain, Ambassador of Denmark to India. Warm welcome. His Excellency Mrs. Shanti Bai, uh, GCSK, High Commissioner of the Republic of Mauritius in India. Welcome, Madam. Dr. Katsuo Matsumoto, Chief Representative India in Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. Very warm welcome, sir. And here, as you can see, the audience, how distinguished and great leaders we have today in the inaugural session, talking on the water and sanitation innovations happening in this country. And the inaugural session is titled Water for All, Sustaining the Future. And we will have the addresses of all these eminent speakers in the inaugural session. And I will start with requesting our chief representative in India for Japan International Cooperation Agency, Dr. Katsuo, to kindly give the address.
Thank you. So I hope you can hear me. So you are.
I can hear you, but can you be a bit more louder, sir?
Okay. So Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaskar. I'm very honored to be invited to today's event. There is no doubt that the agenda of the event is very important for the India's development. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, so-called JICA, as a Japanese official assistance agency, has been working with the water and sanitation sector in India for a long time. Through providing financial and technical support to water and sanitation projects in urban and rural areas, we are glad to see that the total number of benefited people under these projects is about 30 million. Recent initiatives of the central government, like the Jal Jeevan Mission and Clean India, have promoted the development of the water and sanitation sector nationwide. In line with these policies and because of the critical impact on the people's lives, we would intend to continue our cooperation in this area. There are a lot of challenges in the sector, water quality and scarcity, a lack of the sanitation facilities, including the wastewater treatment, deteriorating quality of the groundwater, use of recycled technology, behavior change of the people, and so on. The capacity of the local agency for the effective operation and maintenance is also an issue. This includes a high ratio of the non-revenue water, sometimes almost 40 to 50%, due to the issue of the customer management and the low water tariff rate. These challenges have led to not only the ineffective the service deliveries, but also deteriorate the existing facilities. So in view of the limitation on the availability of the clean water resources and rising the demand for water of the people, the sustainable management of the water resources is a key agenda. Therefore, a multi-phased approach is necessary for overcoming these challenges. We should also emphasize tackling these issues directly contributing to the achievement of SDGs. Goal 6 of SDGs clearly say that they ensure availability and sustainable management of the water and sanitation for all. Role of India for SDG achievement in global context is very, very big. Japan's support to water and sanitation sector in India mainly consists of the ODA loans. It is totally about 53,000 crore rupee. The project implemented in both urban and rural, in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Odisha, Goa, Punjab, and so on. And we have also worked for the Clean Ganga and Yamuna mission for a long time. And one of the biggest advantage of external funding may be the fact that it enables implementation of the latest technologies. In case of the water supply, advanced technology have a manifold impact, like you know. For example, supervisory control and data acquisition, so-called SCADA system, and the tested non-revenue water reduction model can also help in sustainable water supply system. Other technology like water purification compost system, the use of the rainwater and so on are also introducing. So we are now funding water desalination project in Chennai, and the new technology in changing the seawater to drinking water will also be adopted. In the field of the behavior change, JICA recently initiated the hygiene campaign, so-called the Achi Adapt campaign, to sensitize the people for appropriate nail cutting and the hand washing. We have used the comic leaflet and the video, and several Japanese private companies also contributing for the material supplies. We also require behavior change in the field of the waste disposal and toilet use. Even in the sewage project under JICA funding, when we just supporting constructing the new facilities for wastewater, but if there is no change with the people who easily throw out the garbage to the river, the effect is not so good. So it is not easy to see the quick result, but continuous effort are mandatory to have a good impact. So in this situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has really profoundly affected the social and economic sector globally, we have learned several critical lessons. That one of them is maybe we really recognize the importance of water and sanitation sectors, which plays a very important role in fight against pandemic. We cannot emphasize too much about the importance of the water supply and sanitation. That is very effective for the prevention of such disaster. So not only from the viewpoint of the national development, but also from the point of the leave no one behind, I mean last mile connectivity. Collaboration between all stakeholders is critical to implement the effective project and program. We hope that today's event can contribute to building a good collaboration system among the various organizations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to the Honorable Speaker. And you highlighted how in COVID-19 scenario also you took it up, and how things went in this last 1 year as well. And again, I would like to now request another speaker for the inaugural session. And it's my honor to invite His Excellency Dr. Ron Malka, Ambassador of Israel to India, to kindly address. His Excellency, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General in Jal Shakti, Dr. Katsuo Matsumoto, Her Excellency Mrs. Santi Bai Hanumanji, my dear friend, His Excellency Freddie Swain, distinguished guests. First, thank you so much for this lovely video that shows exactly the enthusiasm and the commitment and the devotion that India has to water and to solve the water challenge. This is a global challenge, as we now see it all over the world. I can say that Israel and India has been collaborating on the water management issue for many, many years. But since Prime Minister Modi has decided this is a top priority for India, we adjusted our plans and programs, and we started focusing more on water management. Given the fact that Israel is mostly desert, 60% of Israel is desert, and the rest is semi-arid, and Israel has overcome totally its water challenge. We have now abundance of water, although the rainfall, the annual rainfall declined in about 50% in just 70 years by now. We have abundance of water. We can supply water to our neighbors. And given the fact that we are so willing to share our experience, our knowledge, our practices with our precious friend here in India, and given the devotion that is there and how prominent senior officials are involved, we are very optimistic that together the water challenge of India will be solved and quickly, and we will see available tap water for everybody in India, as it should be. And we are sure that this is going to happen. So we support very much the Jal Jeevan mission. We invited the Jal Shakti minister with his team to come to Israel. He visited Israel. We exposed to him all our latest achievements in water management, all over, from end to end. So it's both sides of the equation, on the side of the sources and the side of the uses. Because we developed new techniques to enhance water, to desalinate, to reuse, even enhance rain. And on the side of the usage, very, very advanced systems in order to utilize every drop, every drop. We use now what we call precision agriculture. We use satellites and drones to monitor the fields and to calculate the exact amount of water that each part of the field needs. And that's how we utilize more than 95% of the water that we use. And then we reuse again. We reuse 95% of the water that we use for first time. We reuse again with different adjustments to industry, to agriculture, drinking quality, research quality, whatever it takes. And all these technologies and systems and experience is now available to our precious friends here in India. So as I said, we work closely with the Minister of Jal Shakti, make available all our experience. We have signed a big flagship water management project with UP just lately under the pandemic. We are going to expose the whole holistic model of Israel of water management from end to end. As I said, this is going to be a very, I'm sure, a very successful project because it's a, I would say it's a proven concept. It works very well in Israel. No reason why it will not work very well here in the place that we choose in Buldenkamp, which has similar conditions like we have in Israel. So it's going to be a very successful one. And then after that, we'll replicate it to many, many places. And we've just decided to nominate for the first time in history a water attaché that will be based here in the embassy in Delhi, an expert, a PhD expert for water management from Israel, that will be here and will help us with this collaboration, successful collaboration between Israel and India on water management. So given that and the enthusiasm that is done, the collaboration and the very fruitful work and collaboration that we have here with Jal Shakti and other organizations about water, I'm sure that India will, in the coming future, short future, will overcome its water challenge. And I'm so happy to see that people are so devoted to that. Same thing that I see in Israel now, I see it here in India. So I'm very optimistic this day. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. And as you rightly mentioned, how India and Israel working together in the field of water. And now I request our next speaker, His Excellency Mrs. Shantibai Hanumanji, who is High Commissioner of Mauritius in India. His Excellency, please.
Thank you
Her
so
Excellency,
much.
I'm so sorry.
All excellencies on the podium, excellencies, distinguished experts in the water sector, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaskar. It is indeed a great privilege and pleasure for me to address this August 2nd National Water and Sanitation Innovation Summit on behalf of the Republic of Mauritius. First and foremost, please allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks to Elets Technomedia in host partnership with the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation Government of India for giving me this opportunity to participate in this event. Today, Excellencies, we are all participating at this summit on water. It might appear a common event happening on a yearly basis, but implicitly, we are knowingly or unknowingly contributing to the noble global move towards providing the common people with dignity, peace, and prosperity through this simple commodity known as water, which has life-sustaining ability for humanity in the past, now, and in the future. At the outset, please allow me to acknowledge a vivid example happening in India that is serving as example to the world. It is a vision and leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Modi for being the driving force behind the world's largest ever sanitation movement, the Swachh Bharat, which is an historic achievement towards Sustainable Development Goal 6 that calls for clean water and sanitation for all. However, the water picture is murky in many parts throughout the world. Water use has been growing globally at more than twice the rate of population increase in the last century, and an increasing number of regions are reaching the limit at which water services can be sustainably delivered, especially in arid regions. According to the UN World Water Development Report 2020, some 2.2 billion and 4.2 billion people still lack access to safely managed drinking water and sanitation services, respectively, despite all efforts being made at all levels. This is severely impacting on people's health and threatening their daily livelihood. Therefore, there is a pressing need to ensure safe access to drinking water and sanitation facilities for all, including vulnerable groups of the society. This also calls for revisiting and addressing the causes of such inequalities that are deeply ingrained in our society. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, water is a precondition for sustaining life on Earth. It plays an essential role in social development, agriculture, power generation, and environmental sustainability. Increases in population and an intensifying migration to urban areas have further exacerbated the supply-demand equilibrium and given rise to new challenges in managing the water sector. The escalating demand has also created conflicts over national and international waters. In addition, the effect of climate change is silently retreating the glaciers, which are the great guardians of the stability of the planet's climate and natural reservoirs for storing water. Human activities are at the root of this phenomenon. Since industrial revolutions, carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions have raised temperatures, as a result of which glaciers are melting and the process is now accentuating. The mountain glaciers store water in the winter and release it out in the summer as the ice slowly melts. But with the climate-induced rapid glacial shrinking, more water runs downhill, resulting into flood, wastage, and more water being diverted to the sea. Loss of mountain glaciers reduces availability of surface and groundwater availability, thus threatening water supplies to millions of people who are dependent on glaciers as source of water. As per some projections, the massive glaciers all around the world, including the Himalayas, are at serious risk. The deadly flood in the Himalaya state of Uttarakhand last February, sparked by a cratering glacier, which threatens thousands of people, is still vivid in our mind. Unless we can limit global warming and take appropriate adaptation measures, disasters like the one in Uttarakhand will unfortunately become more common. The future, therefore, calls for concrete actions and management at all levels for safeguarding the scarce water resources in order to enhance the chances of meeting the present needs without compromising those of future generations. That is the reason why the UN came up with a global blueprint, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is a holistic roadmap for a sustainable future for humanity for years to come. Nearly 6 years into the implementation of the agenda, countries are translating this shared vision into national development plans and strategies. Therefore, this calls for urgent and collective actions that need to be taken to mitigate the problem of water shortage. This includes measures such as proper water management and conservation, water technologies, water recycling, smart utilities, and global best practices, amongst others. It is also important to take appropriate adoption measures to slow global warming and save our glaciers from unconventional melting. To save mountain glaciers, countries should prepare the mountain ecosystems to be more resilient to climate change. And in this context, projects such as afforestation need to be encouraged. I will now give you an insight of the water situation in Mauritius. Mauritius is an island in the Indian Ocean, about 2,000 kilometers off the southeast coast of the African continent. The country area spans over 2,040 square kilometers and has a population of nearly 1.3 million. Mauritius is embracing this sustainable development path within the various challenges posed by the impacts of climate change. Mauritius, as a small island developing state, is faced with the ever-growing challenges of increasing demands for water, as well as the vagaries of climate change, which are expected to exacerbate in the future. Mauritius cannot afford to observe a status quo strategy and manage its water sector under a business-as-usual scenario. With unpredictable variations in rainfall patterns, the water sector is faced with various challenges. Building a resilient future for the island in terms of water security is one of the prime objectives of the government. A water-secure society necessarily entails creating a clear strategy within a sound policy framework with sustained concrete actions over the short, medium, and long term. The island is highly vulnerable to climate change, whose impacts result in economic loss and environmental degradation. Since water crisis and climate change are intertwined, the replenishment of water resources at different times and locations across the island is affected. The signs of climate change are undeniably prominent through increasing temperatures and other ensuing consequences, such as frequent and prolonged droughts, extreme flooding, intense storms, and changing rainfall patterns. On the same wavelength, Mauritius depends heavily on its groundwater resources, whereby the contribution of groundwater to the potable water supply is about 50%. However, it is also an undeniable fact that our aquifers are vulnerable to possible risks of pollution by agrochemicals, domestic sewage, and industrial wastewater. Sea level rise will have serious impacts on groundwater availability, especially in coastal areas. The Republic of Mauritius is therefore adopting an integrated approach with the ultimate goal of achieving a sustainable water supply, coupled with ensuring sustainability on the environment, as well as bracing against the vulnerabilities of climate change. The strategies adopted are well within the ambit of SDG 6. Further, this integrated approach takes into consideration the involvement of both women and men in the management of water and sanitation in the country. Respected members, I will now shed light on the strategies measures adopted by Mauritius with a view to constructing a resilient future for the island. The government is investing primarily in water resources management, development, and water use efficiency. Though 99.6% of households have access to tap water in Mauritius, the island experiences seasonal water scarcity. The government is therefore investing massively in water infrastructural projects such as construction of new dams, pipe replacement to reduce water losses, and increasing water use efficiency in irrigation systems and at household level. Additionally, water and sanitation provision is being given due consideration. The level of the coverage by sewer networks is being increased in order to safeguard the environment and preserve the quality of the groundwater resources. Moreover, since protecting the integrity of water catchment is crucial to ensuring a good water quality status for our water bodies, catchment protection measures such as afforestation programs, as well as continuous water quality surveillance are being exercised, especially on main water supply systems under the Water Quality and Environment Sustainability Scheme and Industrial Effluent Monitoring. Mauritius is also implementing water conservation measures through various techniques. The use of water conservation techniques are being encouraged among the population to reduce the dependencies on the potable water supply and adopting climate change adaptation measures and hence reducing the water bills. In order to ensure safe access to potable water for households with a low income bracket, the government has exempted households consuming up to 6 meter cube per month from payment of water charges. Coupled with this measure, Mauritius has put in place a water tank grant scheme, thus helping families in the low and middle income groups with that scheme. Such facilities will alleviate these families by providing them with adequate water storage during any dry spell. Mauritius is impacted by natural disasters, excluding extreme rainfalls and cyclones especially. Hence, several projects, including flood mitigation measures, are being implemented. Last but not the least, various initiatives are implemented, such as awareness campaigns and exhibitions. And the government strongly believes in educating people so as to be able to take them on board. Mauritius has also played a key role at the international level in framing the action plan for implementing the SDG 6. The high-level panel on water was co-chaired by Mauritius and Mexico during the period 2015 to 2018. Mauritius is also actively involved at regional level, namely the SADC and the African Union. Mauritius also participates actively at the Water Resources Technical Committee, which supports the SADC water ministers for adopting strategic decisions in the South African region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, water as a connector to all social, economic, and environmental aspects of life is at the core of sustainable development. Addressing the looming water crisis amidst climate change across the world will, to a great extent, dictate the fate of our future. The solution requires all of us to join hands and cooperate in various spheres of water management. We need, according to my humble opinion, to raise public awareness about water use efficiency, innovate new water conservation technologies, recycle wastewater, improve infrastructure distribution, improve irrigation and agricultural practices, improve water catchment and harvesting, and develop community-based governance and partnership. Coupled with these measures, it is important to holistically manage the ecosystems to avert natural calamities, build international institutional cooperation in the area of water management. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, water will follow its own way in nature. Let us follow ours through a network of partnerships and cooperation for a sustainable water world of tomorrow where no one is left behind. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency, Mrs. Shantibai Hanumanji, for shedding light on how Mauritius is dealing with water management, sustainable water management, water conservation. It's great to know about that a country like Mauritius is doing such a great work in this sector, in this direction. Thank you so much, Her Excellency. And now we'll be moving on to the next speaker. I invite His Excellency, Mr. Freddie Sven, Ambassador of Denmark to India. Please.
Thank you very much, and namaskar. And may I also greet all my fellow colleagues here. And I will make it brief because I think it's important that we are having a discussion as well. So, of course, happy to see the Rajan Mishra, my colleague from Mrs. Sanchibai, and so of course Ron has left, Kasumoto has left, and so we're not that many left. I represent the Kingdom of Denmark, and the Kingdom of Denmark is also having. Oh, hello, Ohio gozaimasu, Matsumoto-san. The Kingdom of Denmark is also consisting of Greenland, and Greenland is the world's largest island, and we have an ice cap, and we can see how the ice cap is melting. It's part of the global warming. So that context is, of course, having an impact on all of us. So climate change is something that we have to deal with. Denmark and India, we have last year concluded a green strategic partnership with the aim really to look into how Denmark, with our skills, with water and many other fields as well, how we can work together with India. India has the scale. We need to develop the speed due to the sustainable development goals. We also need really to tackle the climate changes. And the scope of what we are doing together is important. Let me take you a little bit through some of the considerations that we have on our side. And we think there are 3 W's here, which are of importance. Water goes without saying, women, and the world. We know that, for instance, in India, lots of women will have to walk for miles to bring water back to their households. So it's a huge issue. So if you can really control the water usage, you can bring the Jal Jeevan mission to its end, the last drop, the last rupee, and you can also now with the urban Jal Jeevan mission and whatever is happening out here on the waterfront, you will be able to solve the water crisis. And if India is not capable of solving the water crisis, then it will have a fatal consequence for the planet, Mother Earth. So we need to really work together with you. We need to secure that we can inspire you. We can bring our technologies and our ways of handling the water issue that we have done in Denmark for many, many years. That's the whole idea of this green strategic partnership. The world, India is so big, you have such a scale when it comes to the opportunities, but also the challenges. So if we do not get India on board, India has to be part of the equation. If you are not part of the equation, we'll not be able to solve any of the global issues. India has a lot of water. You are surrounded by water. You have floodings, and Uttarakhand also showed to us how this kind of outburst can destroy and take away life for many, many, many people. So water is everything. It's also the only substance that you can't replace. You can't substitute it. There's nothing else than water. So we have to be very, very careful about how we are spending, utilizing our resources. In Denmark, all our drinking water comes from the underground. So we do not do desalination, anything like that. So every drop of water that we are consuming, both in the private households as well as for industry purposes coming from the underground. How do we go about that? We go about that in the following sense that we, of course, always will raise your awareness of people that drinking water is not for free. It's there, but you have to pay for it. When you discharge the water, you have to pay an even higher price in order to secure that we are protecting our resources. The industries will also have to develop rain harvesting methods and all that. So we have a kind of cycle of water protection, water harvesting, and water usage. The non-revenue water, which is a big issue in many countries. In India, I don't think you can hardly find any place on average where the non-revenue water is less than 50%. In Denmark, it's 3 to 4%. So whatever water you pump into the distribution system, the non-revenue water is less than 3 to 4%, which is remarkable. But it calls for a lot of technologies, and that kind of technologies we have really brought to India. We are bringing that to India under the framework of our Green Strategic Partnership. The consumption of water, which is very, very important. In Denmark, since the 1980s, we have been almost reducing by 50% the consumption of drinking water per capita. Almost 50%. And that is also something that I think is important to keep in mind when India is rolling out this Jal Jeevan mission, which I think is a great, great project. It's perhaps the world's largest transition project ever. And you're utilizing the backbone of digitization here. So you can really follow, based on transparency and accountability, you can follow the last drop of water, you can follow the last rupee, how it's being spent. So this direct connection between the sender and the end user is really, really important. So we were happy, and it took many years really to reduce the consumption of water per capita. So when all the households in the rural India will get tap water, and you are really moving that, then you also have to secure that the awareness about how much drinking water is being consumed is taken care of. It's not for free. Water is a scarce resource, even though once in a while we have floodings and so forth. But drinking water calls for specific parameters of quality. And I know you have a number of parameters for the quality of drinking water. I'm also very pleased that Jal Shakti just recently announced a kind of online water quality testing system, which will make it very, very easy for the end user to find out, did I really get the quality water that I have paid for or I was promised to have? That's really, 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 really something. It's very, very important. We all know that Ganga and Yamuna, it's a stream of life. And it's not just the stream of life for you, the Indians. It's in fact for all of us, the rest of the world. So the big, big mission of cleaning Ganga is so important. So whenever you can pick out a piece of plastic from floating into the river and thereby ending up in the oceans, it's important. So one piece of plastic less will also help Danes, will help people in Mauritius and wherever they are in Israel. It's so, so important. So that's why it calls for international cooperation. I'm not here to tell you in India what to do, but I'm here to tell you that we have some sources of technologies, we have some experiences, and we'd like to share that with you. It's so important. It's of course an extremely costly process, and we know that we are talking about crores, lakhs of crores that will have to be invested. But you need to invest it, and we stand ready. We are really, really committed and even devoted to secure that water, the substance of life, is clean and kept and being used with efficiency and the fullest appliance of our awareness. Water is not blood, but water is the blood of the planet. And if that's being destroyed, that will have a huge negative impact on our future. Therefore, I'm extremely happy that top priority of the Indian government and Honorable Prime Minister Modi is the cleaning of Ganga, the Jal Shakti missions, and there are several missions, and now recently also added the urban Jal Jeevan mission under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. That's really, really important. So the last drop of water, clean water from Ganga, clean water being sent through the tap system of India, that's also a clean drop for all of us across the world. So we count upon you in India. We'd like to work with you, and I'm extending my hand to all of you so we can work closely. So with these words, I'd like to thank you for being given the opportunity to once again participate in this kind of discussions. Water is for all, but water also has to be sustainable. And nature cannot do all on their own. Nature calls for a human interaction. And the humans, you and I, we will have to take action. So thank you very much, Indo. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. Your address was really inspiring, and really, India is there in core of all the solutions of water solutions globally also, and how important it is to for the benefit of Mother Earth, for the planet, how important it is to safeguard our water resources. And as you mentioned that how important the Ganga is for not only for Indians but for across the world for people. And as we also saw the video, wonderful video, how important Ganga is for Indians and for this planet Earth, and what sort of things government is doing, for Ganga. Our keynote address for this inaugural session is a very important person who is dealing with this cleaning of Ganga, which is one of the major issues in the country. And our keynote addressee, with great honor, I invite Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General of National Mission for Clean Ganga in Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Warm welcome, sir, and request you to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Thank you, Karthik, and His Excellency Mr. Freddy Swan, Her Excellency Santi Baiji, His Excellency Dr. Ron and Dr. Matsumoto from JICA, and all the distinguished guests who are joining us. I must at the outset thank all the excellencies who joined us and then highlighted the importance of water, and in particular the rivers and the river Ganga, Yamuna. And through their learned addresses, and one could very clearly see the kind of attachment they are giving, that the kind of attachment they have, the kind of a strong resolve they have to collaborate. Because at the end of every speech, if you see so far, the message of collaboration, the message of working together, the message of as the water is flowing, our cooperation should also flow. I think that's very, very important. And this is a sector, and today's session is water for all, sustaining the future. There could not be any more meaningful topic to start collaboration, national and international collaboration. And as we have seen, and then as we will have to look at the global vision for water by looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. And if you look at SDG 6, which is directly related with water and sanitation, and which has been referred. But I will also like to highlight that water in some way or the other is important part of every SDG. Some of them are very, very directly relevant. Apart from SDG 6 is SDG 11, where we are talking of goals on the urbanization. And that's again a major challenge, how you manage water, urban water. And similarly, we all are quite aware about the challenges of climate change, and then how exactly we have to, the whole humanity has to cope up. And that's why that SDG also becomes important. If we look at SDG 6, it's about water. It's about making affordable water, universal access to water, and also universal access to sanitation and hygiene. But apart from those clear goals, clear targets, we also mention there very rightly about having a much better or holistic perspective, whether it's improving the water quality, whether it is improving our water use efficiency. Again, water use efficiency is a topic which came in several speeches, several addresses just now, and we have to look at managing it more integrated. So integrated water resource management comes as one of the key area where we have to work, and a big picture emerges, which again I am so happy that all the learned excellencies they have referred to that. It's about water ecosystem. We cannot manage water, we cannot meet the challenges, the global challenge of water management, if we only concentrate our attention to some very local issues or local sources. They are very important in their own way, but you have to look at the entire water ecosystem, and that includes mountains, that includes rivers, that includes forests. So I think there was again the reference of catchment area treatment. So I think we have to look at this entire ecosystem, and to make water available for everyone, to have good healthy water management, we have to keep this entire ecosystem also in good health. Not very easy thing to do, and that's why the need of collaboration. I will very quickly try to give you some of the initiative or some of the recent initiatives. Again, the ambassador from Denmark has just now mentioned some of those urban missions and rural missions on water. The whole approach, we have to look at water management, because challenge is not so much of lack of water. In my opinion, the challenge lies in how we effectively and efficiently manage our water resources. And you have to look at perhaps at two levels. One at the little larger level of the basin level, or integrated river basin management, or integrated water resource management. So that's a kind of bigger level. And second, perhaps where we have to go a little more in detail, is about urban water, how we manage. So how we can go for integrated urban water management. So I think these are two major areas we have to look at. When you look at the basin, when you look at the entire big picture, then you have to look at how we do planning. And the basin management plan, see, we have a lot of capability in hydrology and specific issues, different special branches. But looking at the integrated basin management challenge is a growing area, and then we have developed some capability with the help of expert institutions, and we are also getting some help, collaboration from the India-EU water partnership, where some Tapi basin management plan has been developed, and we are also working under this joint working group or the agreements with either Israel or Denmark on trying to develop some of these areas. So that becomes a very, very important area to look at. And the key lies in integration. So Government of India in 2019 gave top priority to the water sector, and then integrated number of sectors. So whether it is drinking water and sanitation, primarily in the rural area, along with the water resource management, the water resource department, which is looking into the rivers, the rejuvenation of rivers, or groundwater, aquifer management, or surface water management. So all those things have been brought under one ministry, under the leadership of a single minister. And earlier, some of these rivers, Ganga was part of this ministry. Now all other rivers in the country also have been brought together. So what I am saying, that when I say Namami Gange, anyway, Namami Gange is also having a basin approach, which I told. So when Namami Gange mission was launched, basically, when we say Namami Gange, we say that I salute you, Mother Ganga. So I think that's the meaning of Namami Gange, and which you could see in that movie also, the small video clip. So I think when we talk of Namami Gange, we are talking of Ganga, we are talking of Yamuna, we are talking of roughly 40 major rivers in Ganga basin. They all part of this mission. But now we have got other rivers also joining the same ministry, and then we are looking after trying to use some of the framework, some of the learnings of Namami Gange mission into some of these other rivers, and trying to launch a similar kind of massive, ambitious program for other rivers in the country also. So I think that's very exciting. That's one area where we are working on that. Then we are looking at drinking water through Jal Jeevan Mission. As rightly told, it's a massive mission in the rural area. Already it's working with great speed. 70 million households have already been given connection. In the mission was launched in 2019, middle of 2019, and then by now we already have so many connections. The system has been put in place. there is also emphasis upon water quality measurement. So drinking water quality measurement, those lawyers online system has been put there. That combined with several urban missions, like earlier we had Amrut, now that is becoming Jal Jeevan Mission Urban, Swachh Bharat Mission, either it was in the rural area or urban area, as very rightly pointed out by Ambassador from Denmark, that India has to achieve these targets if the global performance has to be somewhere near the target line. And we have shown that in the Swachh Bharat Mission and in the sanitation front, some of those targets were unimaginable. I mean, they looked that perhaps we will never be able to reach, but we have been able to do it. Similar kind of revolution we are also seeing in case of Jal Jeevan Mission for drinking water, and things are really moving very fast. So when I will bring you back to the Namami Gange, because rivers become a very important part of the entire water ecosystem. We are looking directly at that. So several innovative things we have done here. We have a representative from the head of JICA in India with us. He is aware about some of the projects which we are doing with JICA. Similarly, there are several other projects which are happening. What we are trying to do in this mission, trying to develop a framework where we look at quality of water and quantity of water together. So I think one set of things is about the quality of water, and then the major challenge is again municipal wastewater, domestic wastewater, how you treat them. There is a huge capacity gap in treatment of these wastewater. It's not in India. I think if you look at the globally, something like 60-70% of the wastewater goes into the water bodies untreated. So I think it's not only limited to India. Every challenge becomes huge challenge because of numbers. We have a huge scale. We have a huge gap to fulfill. So when we started in case of Ganga, we tried to, I think the government gave us good financial support. We tried to look at the entire length of Ganga and tried to evaluate each and every city, look at what exactly is the gap and how we can meet that gap. We tried to bring in private partnership into that. We tried to bring long-term approach, long-term sustainability into that. So 15-year operation and maintenance was made part of the project cost. We also tried to, and we brought hybrid annuity mode of the private partnership, so that became a very important thing, because it's not only important to pay for construction. What's important is that you pay to the concessionaire as a partner for performance. So I think that paradigm has been brought by this mission. I'm very happy to share that now this approach is now getting translated into other rivers also and other mission also. Niti Aayog looked at this model and they have recommended that perhaps in this wastewater management in the country, this should be one of the model, one of the best practice which we should carry forward. We also try to improve governance of the wastewater management by going for city-wide contracts, one city, one operator kind of concept. And then that's also improving things, improving performance of all that. While doing all these approach, and industrial wastewater management is another area, so that also is happening. We are trying to bring in greener technology. That's again an area where international collaboration has been very useful. We have brought good technology, good greener technology. Some of the countries have set up some center of excellence in place, like Kanpur, which is known for tanneries, and trying to work with the industry as partner to improve their own efficiency and go for greener technology, so that you waste less. And of course, enforcement has to be there and it has to be strict. So that's also happening. But apart from this pollution abatement thing, we are also trying to work in improving the health of the river through ecological interventions like forestry. We have got a very scientific all along Ganga forestry intervention program for the catchment area treatment that has become a model for 13 more rivers. That kind of forestry program is being now implemented. Wetlands again become very important part. I think the target 6.6 talks about the water ecosystem. Unfortunately, not only in India, globally, the wetlands are being lost at a much faster rate than even the loss of forest. And that's an area of a huge concern. What we are trying to do, we are trying to focus upon two types of wetland on priority. Of course, all wetlands are important, the floodplain wetlands, as well as the urban wetlands. Floodplain wetlands, because they can bring back water, they can recharge aquifers and bring base flow into the river during the lean season. And urban wetland, because they are really very prone to encroachment and getting lost. So I think several of these things are these approaches going on. Floodplain. See, what's important in our mission, in our authority order, which has been accepted and it will be extended to other river also. We are looking at river as a single system. So river does not mean a single river. It includes tributaries, it includes wetlands, it includes springs, it includes floodplains. So I think if you look at this entire thing as one system and then work, then perhaps you will be able to do justice. Groundwater, again, India is a country which consumes maximum ground. The groundwater use in India is more than even USA and China put together. So we use almost 18% of global groundwater we consume. Now that's a very, very alarming situation, because we have to realize, we don't know how much water we are consuming and how much the groundwater is going away, because we don't see. I mean, common man does not know about aquifer and does not really see it. It's unlike our telephones, the mobile phones. We get a message that your phone battery is going down, you have to charge it. Similar kind of approach we have to also have about this particular thing. So aquifer mapping is taking place now through Atal Bhujal Yojana. So I think we are in our Namami Gange mission also, we are trying to do some survey about groundwater and link groundwater with the surface water, because they're all part of one system, and then that has to be done. We have to look at demand side and supply side management. Supply side, okay, we have to look at the river, we have to look at the rain, and then that is where the Catch the Rain campaign, we are now going to launch the Jal Shakti Abhiyan and Catch the Rain campaign. See, the rainfall patterns are becoming, we know, all of us, the whole world knows and suffers from the impact of climate change. So our overall rainfall, maybe the total rainfall might not have changed much in India, but the pattern has become very erratic. We have to be very conscious about consuming and collecting every drop of the rainwater productively, and that's why from last 1 year or so we have launched a very huge Catch the Rain campaign. Catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. So I think that's something which is very, very important for us. And then from the wetlands, the catching the rain, improving the local sources is very important. Even for Jal Jeevan Mission, it's not only a pipeline project to give water to the household. You have to sustain the local sources. So source sustainability becomes very, very important, where you have to really work and rejuvenating the local water bodies. So that's again part of a campaign. Along with that, I think there was a mention about public outreach from Her Excellency from Mauritius, and she very rightly said you have to involve people. And Honorable Prime Minister is very keen that the water has to become, the water conservation or water management has to become a people's movement. So there are several things which is happening in that respect to engage with the youth, engage with the children, engage with the students, to really, and that has also shown there's a lot of hope I see when I interact with them. So a lot of community level work is going on. Certain things will be done in the campaign mode to energize, to catalyze the people. I am very happy to share with you that we are going to start a online global quiz on Ganga and other rivers and its entire ecosystem. We call it Ganga Quest. So gangaquest.com, and it's open for anyone, for the international participants also. Last year we had more than 1 million participants. This year we are trying to make it global, so that and last time on pilot basis few countries, and we got good response. And as has been told by several of the international delegates, the Ganga is something where there is a lot of international interest. We get so much of collaboration. So I think at this platform I am also announcing and requesting everyone to have a look at
Okay, it seems there's some technical glitch. The video got stuck at Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra's side. I think we just wait for a few seconds if he rejoins. Okay.
good response coming up in our country, and several states have come up with their policies. We are trying to develop a national framework for reuse of treated wastewater, and not only wastewater, other byproducts also. That's again an area where we have to work together, and there could be lot of improvement possible in future. As I said, that some projects which we have actually developed some innovative models. So it's question of technology, it's question of bringing some good business model, and then reuse the treated wastewater. Wastewater actually is the wrong term to call it, because this is actually a resource. So how we can actually convert it into a resource and utilize it for several other purpose, again, that's a matter of a little I mean, I hope there are certain sessions in this conference where all these things would be discussed in detail. So I think I will end by once again emphasizing that collaboration, partnership is the key. There are so many areas. We cannot know everything on our own. We have to learn from others. We also have to learn from our traditions. That's very important. I mean, India had and all countries have had good traditions of conserving water. Some of it we are forgetting, so we have to also learn from modern technology. We also have to revisit some of our water management traditions. So that's also equally important. And most important, we talk about several R's in water management: reduce, reuse, recycle, etc. I will like to appeal, we must add another R, that is respect for water. Valuing water comes when you respect water. So I think that is something very important. Let's respect water. Let's learn from each other. Let's join hands and then move ahead on this big journey. And unless we manage our water well, unless we learn in time, perhaps it will be difficult to sustain our future. So I think that's something which I will appeal to each one of us who are present here, to work collectively and then move ahead and achieve all these goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra. And your thoughts have been really visionary, and we are quite hopeful that in your guidance, the water of the country will be, really safeguarded. And thank you so much for this inspiring address, and also for appealing the people to work with the government in safeguarding the water and conserving the water. Maybe a river water, any other water resource, or underground water. We need to be aware of every aspect of water resources. Thank you so much. So here it is a closing time. If there's anybody would like to comment, or anybody has to say anything, you're warm welcome. We have 2-3 minutes with us. So if I take conclusory remarks or any statements from anybody, otherwise we'll close this inaugural session. Okay. We will be doing a ceremony of presenting speaker certificates. It is a token of appreciation, respect, and thank to all the eminent speakers of this session for sparing time and sharing such a wonderful thoughts on water management and water conservation. And we will start with presenting the speaker certificates to our eminent speakers of the inaugural session. I request my backend team to kindly present the certificates on screen. This speaker is certificate of appreciation presented to Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, IAS. He is Director General, National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Thank you so much, sir, for your keynote address. It was really inspiring, sir. Thank you. And the next speaker certificate is to Mr. Kotsugo Matsumoto. He is Chief Representative of India-Japan International Cooperation, JICA. Thank you so much, sir, for being here, for sharing your thoughts. And the next speaker certificate we present to Her Excellency, Mrs. Shanti Bai Hanumanji, High Commissioner of Mauritius in India. Thank you very much, ma'am. It was great to know about Mauritius and its water initiatives. Thank you so much for being here with us. The next speaker certificate is to His Excellency, Mr. Freddie Swen, Ambassador of Denmark to India. Thank you so much, sir. You are always inspiring. You speak always wonderful, and this time also you're great. Thank you so much, sir. and we were also participated by His Excellency Dr. Ron Malka. He's Ambassador of Israel to India. Thank you so much to him as well. And here we close this discussion. It is an inaugural session, but audience, please stay with us for the next sessions. They will be wonderful and very interesting sessions, and you will be definitely go well aware of water conservation and importance of water. Thank you so much. Please, audience, stay with us, and thank you so much, eminent dignitaries and speakers, for joining us in that session. Namaskar.
देश है। विश्व में हमने युवाओं की आईटी एनर्जी के माध्यम से अपना एक रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख मिला करके बात कर सकते हैं। और ये मेरा साफ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूं, आईटी प्लस आईटी इज इक्वल टू आईटी। इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी प्लस इंडियन टैलेंट इज इक्वल टू इंडिया।